learned to an election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it down, we gon' get it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming in November 23rd, 2020, and the stock market loves Janet Yellen. There was a lot of other things that happened today, not too big. We got some Monday vaccine news, AstraZeneca this time, and that kind of affected the market a little bit. We saw more of the rotations, but one thing the market liked, you could see that it popped. It was the announcement that Joe Biden wants to place Janet Yellen, the former Fed chair, as the new Secretary of the Treasury. So she was the first woman to hold the Fed chair in 2014, and she will be the first woman to become the Secretary of Treasury. So that's pretty cool, but Wall Street really, really likes this, and if you are tired of all of the politics, you're probably going to like it too. So we will talk about that. We will talk about that importance, but it led to some reactions. We are going to get more picks for Joe Biden's cabinet tomorrow. We will see how Wall Street and the whole market takes that, and even after hours, there was some GM news saying they like kind of the green energy, and again, all those EV stocks, they started to move a little bit after hours. You could see here some more than others, but it was an overall exciting day. This week is going to be a little bit interesting. I'm pretty sure after the next few days, it is going to get muted. If you guys don't know, it is a short trading week because of Thanksgiving, so Thursday is going to be closed, and then Friday is going to be a half day, so keep that in mind. But we have a lot to talk about. I got the plays, I got the keys, all the plays we made today, and some that I'm looking for tomorrow, and that is pretty much it. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes for open. It's the first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/the-stock-market. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life, and yes, we just want to remind you that if you don't have to pay 10 cents to send or receive a text message and call nights and weekends or to the same carrier, you're lucky and blessed. And the most important thing you need to do, post your watch list below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything. Post them below and source that info. Shout out to Chad, baby. So right off the bat, like we said, more vaccine headlines. That was the AstraZeneca stuff. But today overall responded even to retail and this continued rotation. And again, we saw that little pop with the market and Yellen. So there was the vaccine headline. People talked about that. We even made a play on Novavax. We're going to talk about that one as well too. But the key here today is that you saw the rotation. So I will tell you, for the rest of this week, this rotation is going to be important. If you really think about how we played out last time we saw this rotation. So if you guys remember about 1 or 2 weeks ago, you started to see that value rotation. Stocks like Walgreens were shooting up. You saw a lot of these beat down stocks really go up, and then the tech stocks sold off. So you saw that today, even though later in the day tech kind of picked up and it was key, but instead of it being, certain beat down industries, you specifically saw it today with retail. So we pointed that out there. Stocks like Macy's, Nordstrom's, Urban Outfitters, even Gap, they all just went up a lot. And now because you're getting their earnings and people are going to start talking about the holidays, and now some people are expecting upticks. There was estimates that came out. That was that GDP stuff we were talking about. So the market really liked that, and if anything, that is what we saw here mostly today, was the market really just continuing this rotation. It played out almost exactly the same. We saw Apple lagging on the downside. They were down, tech was down, but then retail and then a few other stocks, again, Boeing was up 4%. That kind of held and carried everything. So the key is watching how we play out now Monday through Friday. Again, with the short weekend, it's going to be interesting. You want to see, does the rotation stick? Do we start to see the tech stocks come up, or do you kind of see retail and then some of those other value industries continue to take the lead? Because it's almost been a month now, if you think about it, and that could tell you a little bit about how the market is positioning coming into both the end of the year and the beginning of the new year. So there was that, and then now the main key is there was the positive result on Yellen for the Treasury. So you saw the market move. It's even coming up a little bit after hours right now, but all in all, there was a little pop when it was announced. I mean, pretty decent, almost about 2.5 points or 2 points. Came down a little bit, but overall, why the market liked it is because Janet Yellen is a safe pick. This is at least my opinion. There's a lot of opinions. Some people are even saying that Wall Street likes Janet Yellen because what she's done in the past, she's very inflation friendly. If anything, again, she kept rates at a very, very low point for a long time, even under a lot of scrutiny and pressure. So there's that, but we talked about it today. I think she's a pretty solid pick, and I said it earlier, if you're not really into the politics, again, a lot of articles even talked about this, the market market and Wall Street is just getting the idea that, hey, she's worked in this position before. She's definitely qualified to do it. And if anybody who has had history working with both sides, it would probably be her. And she's not really taken a political bias both when she was working at the Fed and even following. So the fact that Biden didn't put like Elizabeth Warren or something more extreme, this is just a very, very good sign for everybody all in all. Again, I said it, she's not really like the most spiciest. You don't really get the sparkle. It's not a new face, but she's very, very reliable. And that's why we're thinking that Wall Street may have liked this. So we want to see how that plays out. And now this is going to be important because Jerome Powell still has one more year. So I don't know what Biden will announce tomorrow, but if we get any updates like that, that will be the final piece. And if Wall Street could kind of zone in on who it's going to be, it might react accordingly. So it's going to get really, really interesting. And I think it is interesting. So it is going to be exciting. I think that's going to be good info. We're definitely going to hear from this and we'll get ready to watch Miss Yellen. But overall, it's clear that the rest of the week is going to be surrounding some of these appointees. And then if we see this rotation and then also how some of this virus stuff plays out, or if the vaccine stuff, if we get more positive news. So I hope you're ready. It's going to be exciting, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I have a few plays. First one is Snap. I made this play in the morning. I got clapped on at 50%, but I like it. And the reason why, they got news that they are going to have this new like TikTok competitor feature. I didn't get it on this account. I think I got it on the TD Ameritrade just because it was lagging in the morning. But I bought these Snapchats. I bought 10 of them. I spent a little bit more. I guess I was a little bit excited, and you guys know I like Snapchat. But I bought 10 of these next week 54 calls for about 57 and 58 cents. Filled 5 and 5 at each price, but they are down about 50%. So I'm down like what on those? 63%. So we're down $365 on those. But I still like it. I'm probably want to look for some more with time, but I think that could have good news. And again, we've just talked about Snapchat in general. The fact that it's kind of rotated and played out how it has played out. So I like it. We'll see what happens. I want to see if it continues with that momentum. But that was the first play we made today. The second play was NVAX, and I really, really like this play. I got cheap calls on it just given its potential and even just the recent headlines. There was even some like bad news rumors about it today, but it is totally a gamble, and you could even see just with how much I put into it. I only got $65. I grabbed this 106 weekly call, and it seemed very, very cheap, but it also is starting to make more sense. The simple logic is that it is a short week. So I was like, this is pretty cheap considering the stock was at like 90 something when I got it. It was at like 93. I was even late to the run up. So I said, well, it was like a 10% move for like 60 cents. I was like, well, the stock could move. And again, like I'm saying, potential wise, in the last 180 days or 100 days, the stock was up at 180. So considering every single day and week we've been seeing these headlines, I'd want to see if they popped. We even saw what happened to Myrna. So I might even play this week by week if the prices stay these cheap, but I grabbed those 106s at 65 cents. They shot up a little bit, then they ended up coming down again when the stock was going up. They were at like 190, came down. So it's going to be a volatile one. I like it from a gambling perspective. It's just going to be risky. It's playing the biotechs, but we haven't had our hand in any of these. But this seems to be the cheapest just because I think Novavax could probably move the most, or it has the biggest history of moving as far as price-wise. So mixing that in with cheap options, I like that formula. So that was the second play I made. The third play that I'm going to be looking at, I have these old April ones, and those are the longer dated contracts. They went up a lot, and Disney kind of got revived. So that being said, I want to see if some of the shorter term contracts are lagging. So if you guys remember, I've been talking about Disney a lot, and now why is this important? Because like I said, you're seeing a little bit of that rotation happening here today. So Disney kind of worked in our unique favor. Again, you saw what happened with tech stocks. They were a little down, but Disney was up 4%, 3.5%. It's kind of uniquely played the middle, and we've talked about that. So like I said, some of the ones with more time went up in value. I want to look at the short terms to see if they're kind of lagging behind still. It looks like they are kind of showing some gain. Again, it just kind of came out of nowhere, but these could be good potential frogs at some point if it does start to depreciate. So I like Disney. I think that's good. Again, just factoring that into this whole rotation play, I think that's going to be key. And then finally, the last thing to look at, I talked about this and people ask me questions about this, or they say, what's the best thing to buy right now? And I'll just tell you, the Santa Claus rally is now. So people are looking for plays. Where should I put money? Again, be smart, be cautious. None of this is a recommendation. One thing I want to point out though is you're going to probably hear about people, and one day you're just going to wake up, or the market's just going to have one big day, and then all all of a sudden the headlines are going to say Wall Street is preparing for Santa Claus rally or Christmas. You're going to see something like that. So that's why I could tell you, if you want to get ahead on stuff, whatever you want to buy coming into Christmas, if you're thinking a stock is going to go good, don't really wait for Wall Street to tell you that. If you think this is what pricing in means, people are going to be having some foresight with this. So Christmas is going to happen and end faster than Christmas will actually happen, if that makes sense. So I think this is just something good to keep in the back of your head. Watch the clock, see where we're at. So keep that in mind if you're looking at any of those types of plays. But there is that. And then finally, as far as everything else, I have a few other stocks I'm looking at. I did make one more play this time on the shares. You guys remember Palantir? We bought this at IPO. I decided to make it free. So this thing has kept going crazy. You guys remember we actually bought this stock the first day we streamed it on IPO. We talked about it and I opened my first position, 200 shares at 1040, and it actually dropped for a long time and we were down on it. But fast forward just about 2 months here, I sold out 100 of these shares. So again, just so you could see it, you guys have seen how we built this portfolio out on various companies. Even then, we did it with Gap and we profited on that today. I've showed you the free share strategy here. So again, I bought 200 shares for $2,080 at 1040 a pop. I sold 100 today at 2,040. So essentially, only $40 came out of my account. I pretty much got most of my initial investment back. But now the key factor is I'm left with 100 shares. So I bought 200. I only sold 100 to get my initial investment back. That's why we get to hold these forever. And that is what I plan to do. So shout out to the longs. We got a nice little 2% of the portfolio in free shares. We'll take it and roll with it. So as far as everything else, I have a few other companies. Again, even just what we watched today. Watch some of the value stocks. Watch Walgreens. Again, Disney fell in its own category, but see the ones that start to pick up. We want to see, is it going to continue with retail or not? You saw it again. Here's Urban Outfitters. I think they did decent on the earnings, but it looks like they're coming down. So maybe earnings could water down this effect, but we'll see them. There was Gap. They closed up 8%. Again, just watch any of the other retailers. Apple was the laggard today, and they were very, very key. I mean, if you really think about it, they did pretty bad comparatively because some of the other tech stocks didn't really close down that bad, and that's what we want to pay attention for. Another one to keep in mind would actually be Zoom because they even closed down. So if this keeps happening, it's going to prove to be that there's a bigger rotation or the COVID industries aren't really having that same strength. But again, I might just be looking at it too micro, but watch those. Watch Apple, Disney. Like we said, I'm going to be watching the work from home stocks in that industry. There's BigCommerce. They went up 12%. We're still down on it from our long term, but remember we added that this month at the beginning of the month. We were down a lot more. Now we're only down like 10% or so. But why did they go up? I mean, just think about it with retail, holidays, the expectations, the GDP, all that. They're probably going to be facilitating a lot of it. I'm sure Shopify went up as well too. Actually, Shopify ended up going down. So that's kind of interesting here. And it's maybe because Shopify could be priced to perfection or a lot's been priced in. But that is actually very, very interesting. So even then, watch that and see if there is any sort of trend that develops or inverse between the two. But they're really similar. So I would have expected them to move pretty similarly. But watch that. We're still holding those. Tesla killed it, and even after hours now, I think it's because of that GM news that they want to go for that green energy stuff. So Tesla, SPE, I believe it was them who got a negative report, or maybe it was Blink, I think it was Blink. One of them, Citron came out, gave a negative report. So we talked about them, but overall, they have had a crazy day so far. And we talked about the EV stocks yesterday. So you guys are seeing, like I said, there's a lot of eyes on it. My job here is to just tell you what people are talking about here in the market, and this just keeps coming up. So keep watching and see how this plays out. But I am still an active shareholder of Tesla. So please just do not ever forget that. If you guys remember, we bought after hours. We're still holding strong 14.8%. I'm proud to be an American and a Teslonian and a Chattadonian all at the same time. But watch those, see if that continues. Again, even with this short week, it may make options. Again, I didn't really find any plays on them, but it's always fun to watch. Then finally, the dollar moved a little bit. Some people had their eyes on this, but I want to see how this fully prices in Yellen and other things that happen. But keep in mind, we still want to watch some of that digestion from the Treasury and all that. Gold did bad, actually, and now it's starting to break trend. And then finally, TLT kind of slipped up a little bit too. So it's still in the range. Give it a few more days. Again, there's still a few more things, and some of those appointees may affect it, as well as what is going on with Munchkin and all of that. So it is going to be exciting. I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready for the holidays, the end of the year, and get ready for the Santa Claus rally. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to have an environment where bitterness can't grow, baby. Kill it with some hope. But the code loves you. I love you. And we'll see you in the morning. Let's go.